Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the new moon and solar eclipse forecast. So, what do we have for you today? Well, the new moons form the template of the entire 29-day cycle, but this has an extra charge because it's the most powerful eclipse of our lifetime. In some ways, it even surpasses the 2017 one and the 1970 and 79 eclipses. So, this just happens to be an eclipse. And I have everything on my notes. That's why my face is down. I can't remember all this stuff. But in any event, so no matter what, well, let me put it this way: that well, I'm thinking of things. I'll get to these points in a minute, but this is extremely significant, and this is going to probably catalyzes the most important changes in our lifetimes. It may not happen exactly as the eclipse happens. So we're going to talk about the astrology and numerology a little bit. 5 things that we need to know, some spiritual recommendations. I have some divination cards and stuff like that. And yeah, as people are starting to come on, and I'll say a few quick hellos also. So if you're watching the video, just hang in there for a second. So let's see who's on live. We have quite a stream. So hi, Michael and Lisa and Suzette and Laura and Doreen of Children's School of Yoga and Roseanne and hi, Susan and Angela and who else? Welcome. Laura. Hello, Bella Nicole. And there's new comments. And Leanne and Christine, and just as I don't know what we call this, a public service announcement for the community. There have been comments that I'm not seeing on my live stream. Somebody brought it to my attention, and they thought that I was ignoring them. Somebody that's a regular with all of our on basically all of our live streams. I would never ignore anybody. I mean, I may not see all of your comments. I would never ignore you. So if I'm not saying your name when I'm going through the list and you're on and trying to comment, it's just because for whatever reason, YouTube's not showing it. So sorry about that if that's affecting anybody. So before I came on, and this is very spontaneous, hi Meryl and Yvonne and Christine, and I think I mentioned Leon. Anyway, hi again. Spirit just showed me this quick image of a tiger in my mind. And now we're in the year of the dragon, and that actually plays a role because, dragons are, they breathe fire. They're very transformative. It's the wood dragon. So there's a lot about trees and about plants and all that kind of stuff. But tigers are like the compassionate leaders, and they're striped. So they're like the balance. They're the yin yang. So if you're on this live stream or if you're watching this as a video, you're really called to step up to be more of a leader in either in your local circles or maybe doing what things like what I do, and Huda has a YouTube channel, and Mr. Floyd's channeling channel, and the others. So hi ICC as well. So I just wanted to mention that just quickly. And I'm going to try to get through this stuff as quickly as possible. Hi, Angel Feathers, also 1111. Vivian, hi. Oh, beautiful. Hi, Vivian. Welcome. And CC99, welcome. So I'm going to try to get through this. There's a lot to talk about. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can, but there's definitely a lot going on and a lot to talk about. So, firstly, the eclipse itself is likely to come and go relatively peacefully. Yeah, there will be traffic incidences. Officials are being called on site, which is a little bit over the top, and some people have opinions on that. Was like FEMA or the National Guard being called out, but I think what I experienced with eclipse is the energies get really, really quiet. The eclipses themselves, even if you can't see it, if you're not in the eclipse zone, if you're in the United States, you're in the lower 48, you're getting at least some of the visible eclipse, but usually the energies that follows it really sets in 40 days. So keep that in mind. 40 days takes us into what, like late May, right? Or middle to late May. So the energies really take that long to settle into the denser fields of the 3-dimensional Earth grids. But but it takes 40 days for the energy to set. And then over the next several months, and maybe even several years, the changes are going to happen. Hi, Watkins Cat House. Hi, Tiffany. So I just wanted to mention that. And 40 comes up a lot, 40 in yoga practice, because it takes 40 days for us to transform a new habit into a subconscious program, according to the yoga systems that I studied. You see that in the Bible a lot. Also, you see a lot of numerology in the Bible, where are we? Okay. Getting ahead of myself here a little bit. So, firstly, a little bit of historical reference to add some perspective on how big of an event this is. There's only been 9. This will be the 9th total solar eclipse in the lower 48. Now, that does not include annular eclipses, which is the Ring of Fire eclipses, or what's called the hybrid eclipses, that in some part of its journey, it's total, other parts, it's annular. So these are just pure total eclipses. So this will be the ninth number of completions. There were 2 major eclipses, one before and one during actually both during the Revolutionary War, because one was June 24th, 1778, another one October 27th, 1780. There were 2 major eclipses before and after. And interestingly, after 1780, you had to wait another 80 years for your next total eclipse. That happened July 18th, 1860, which was a little bit, I think, a couple of years before the Civil War, and then 1869 after the Civil War. So these total eclipses, especially the coast-to-coast ones, the big ones on the U.S. mainland, have caused a lot of changes historically. Revolutionary, civil, it's all about upheaval. It's all about change. And right now we're in this great awakening of consciousness. We're in an evolution and even a revolution of consciousness right now. So to keep that in mind. Now the 2017 one, that was the coast to coast eclipse. I actually, in some of my posts, I made a slight error. The 2017 eclipse was the one that was called the Great American Eclipse, not this one coming up, because that started, I believe, in Oregon and kind of cut through the entire country out to like Georgia or South Carolina. I mean, this one has a long track, but one of the reasons this is more significant is because it's a super new moon, so it means that more of the sun is hidden by the moon, and therefore totality is longer, about 4 to 4.5 minutes in Texas, and as it exits Plattsburgh, New York, into the Canadian and into the Maritime, and then dissipates, it's 3 minutes. The one in 2017 at its peak was about 2.5 minutes. And also for other reasons, there's like these biblical references, like 7 major biblical cities cited during the path, and these 2 eclipses crisscross right around the Arkansas, Illinois, and Kentucky borders. So it's right around, that's interesting also. And this eclipse cuts through Texas, remember the Alamo, so it cuts through that area. Very prominent historic Revolutionary War sites also into that, again, the Mississippi, Illinois, Kentucky border. That's like Mason-Dixon line country. So it cuts through that. It cuts through the Ohio Valley, through the major shipping lanes of the Native Americans, the Ohio Valley into the St. Lawrence Seaway, up through the Great Lakes and into Canada. So anyway, there's a little bit of background. Anything I missed on my notes here? Good. We're moving right on. So let's go into the astrology. Okay, yes. So I'm not, if I may look at it and post a couple of comments, but and you guys feel free to talk amongst yourselves. I really want to get through these notes in time, but that's an interesting comment, from a couple of you guys, and I'm just glancing at. On Sundays at 11, when we do tarot time, that's when we really open up to the community, and I'm posting your comments and everything. That's 11. So it's the weekly tarot reading, but it's also our little Sunday morning community hangout here as well. So anyhow, April 8th, the eclipse, usually I have the exact time written, and solar eclipses are always on the new moon. Lunar eclipses are always on the full moon. it's around 3:20-ish. Usually I write the time down, but I didn't today. But it's on 4/8/2024. That's a universal 20 day numerology. I pay attention to the numbers. Number 20 is the judgment in the major arcana of the tarot, and in Chaldean numerology, it's the card of awakening. It's the number of spiritual, or one of the numbers of spiritual awakening. It's kind of like the symbology is Archangel Gabriel blowing his horn, and the land wakes up. So this is happening on a universal 20 day. It's on a universal 12 month. That's the sacrifice. It's the hangman in the tarot. It's very spiritual also. And the number 7 comes up a lot too. So there's some important numerology. Also, it's at 19 degrees Aries. 19 degrees is the sun. So it's a very solar, very light energy, bright light energy in the sign of Aries. That's the astrological new year, the new beginnings. So this is worth noting. Now, Mercury, retrograde at 27 degrees, and it's going to be really starting its retrograde motion by then. So 27 is in Chaldean numerology is liberation or the liberator. So, again, there's a lot of synchronicities pointing to this being a huge awakening and a huge shift and a huge awakening of humanity. So that's why I'm mentioning all this stuff. Mars and Saturn conjunct. Mars is energy. Saturn's are lessons. It can be around the government also. And it's conjunct in the sign of Pisces, the sign of the subconscious, and the 12th sign. It's not exact right on the day. It's about 2 degrees off, but it's still conjunct. Venus and Pluto sextile are still in the sextile. Jupiter and Uranus conjunct in Taurus. So that's the big one, because Jupiter is expansion and growth. Uranus is surprise. It's evolution, revolution, and it's the house of security, the house of money, and everything. So the idea here is for you guys, look at your charts if you don't have them. See where 19 degrees Aries falls, what house does it fall in, and what aspects does it form. And you'll get an idea of what this eclipse is going to catalyze in your life, because these eclipses, especially the strong one, are catalysts for change. And this will give you an idea of that. For me, it's in my 4th house. So things around my home, basically, that's part of it. It's also energies of females, because it's the 4th house. Energies of the past or past lives or something like that, because it's right near the nadir or the 4th house cusp. So anyways, just figured I mention that. Find out where that is. And in my case, this happens to be trining, 1 degree of Saturn in my 12th house and 2 degrees in my ascendant in Sagittarius. So that's a natural fire trine. So for me, it's definitely a good energy. It's going to make me brighter. It may help things going on in my life with my business and YouTube and stuff like that. It's also my 4th house. So you can get a little bit of personal information. So there's other goodies here. The Green Devil comet. Green is healing, and it's called the Devil comet because of its shape. It's not satanic or anything, but that may be visible to the naked eye. If you're lucky enough to be where it's total and it's clear, I think 7 or 8 planets are going to be visible. You have your Mercury and Venus near the sun always. You don't see it because it's especially Mercury near the sun. And right now, Venus is the morning star. It's not the evening star. So all of those will be visible. And you may even see this comet going on. It's also the Wood Dragon. Okay, I talked about that. So, all right, I talked about these eclipses also as well. So anyway, let's go to the 5 things that we need to know. Are we ready? So Watkins Cat House, you know a lot about your astrology, yeah. So that's good. That's really good. So definitely, what asteroids are being affected. That's good to know. Lilith is kind of like like the dark sun. It's sort of the the. I mean, I like the legend of Lilith personally. It's like the first Eve or the first woman or whatever. So Venus love, yes, of course I'm a Libra. So what does that do? Well, I'm 1 degree Libra, so it doesn't oppose my sun. So that's kind of good. All right. Anyway, number one thing that we need to know, the mass awakening. This is the big reset. So this is it. We've been working hard. It's been slowly building. There's been a lot of energetic spikes, ups and downs, human frequencies off the hook, solar activity really strong, even for the peak of the 11-year cycle, all that stuff. The eclipse is the great flash. It's the great solar flash. A lot of teachers are calling it that now. This reality gets a quantum leap. All right. Takes time to show up on the physical, but evolution or awakening or whatever, or energetic growth, is that the right word? It doesn't happen in a straight line. It happens in quantum leaps, just like the way it happened inside the atom with the electrons. They go into different, I think they're called valences, though I don't remember the exact term, different energy levels. So it jumps from one level to another. So that's what I mean by quantum leap. If you're not from, I mean, different people use it a little bit differently, but it's quantum physics. It's knowing what's happening inside of the atom. That reminds me to talk a little bit about CERN, or is it called Kern for Kernunos? The Celtic fertility god. But they're firing up CERN. That's the largest particle generator, and ever since its inception, there's been a lot of kind of like dark agendas associated with it. I mean, being a scientist, I like to look at it from the viewpoint that generators, especially the biggest one in the world, has the power to open up more of what happened inside of the atom. And then we understand more about quantum physics, and we understand more about how the universe works. But is it a doomsday machine? Now, on that note, a lot of conspiracy theories. Some conspiracy theories try to point us over here, where all the action's going on over here. So don't get taken in by conspiracy theories, even if they're real ones, because not all of them are real. Some of them are planted in specific ways. If you follow like the Q or the right wing, some of those are planted in that ideology. If you follow other political, okay, to cut to the chase, anything that has a political tie with it, it doesn't mean that it's false, but my recommendation is don't pay too much attention to it, because it may be trying to divert your attention to where the real conspiracies are happening. Many conspiracy theories later on become conspiracy facts, but I do believe that some of them are created for smoke screens. So I just want to put that out there. All right, back to mass awakening, the big reset. Back to a regularly scheduled point number one. This reality gets a quantum leap. Lots of people will have spontaneous spiritual experiences. Now, people have been having that before. There's been lead up to the eclipse. It's not that everything changes on the eclipse. There's a build-up period. So this is already starting to happen, but it's going to peak. And then when it's over, it's going to peak even more, basically. It's going to take probably years for the effects to really play out, but the next 40 days is very instrumental. That's when the shift is happening. After those 40 days, I think we're going to really start to see a lot changing in the world. Some of it will happen, but a lot will change, and a lot of people are going to have spontaneous awakening. My suggestion is meditate, do your spiritual work, be prepared for that possibility. In fact, invite it. And what else? The Great Purge shifts into the Great Reset. So we've been in a Great Purge. A lot of people have had a lot of ascension type symptoms. There's also eclipse symptoms, I have to say, from this energy spike to the eclipses. So I'm going to do a video that's going to be out next week. By the way, the after the eclipse video, what's going to happen after the eclipse, that video uploaded at 5:30. So that can be your next video after this one, if you want to see that one about what's likely to happen, different psychic predictions and whatnot. So anyway, Meryl's saying just breathe. Yes, stay in your heart. That's the eye of the storm. Hearts cannot be programmed. Hearts cannot accept negative energies. If you're in your heart and you get a negative something coming up, it's because you got pulled out of the heart. It's not because that negative energy can penetrate that. That's the highest vibration. Teachers like Greg Braden call that the master frequency. The heart and gratitude, compassion, which is coherence to the heart, is the master frequency. Stay in the heart. So the great purge, energetic purging, our systems are changing. A lot of the old gunky stuff on an energetic level, even on a physical level, are being purged. And this is really the end of it. This is sort of the grand finale of that. So if you've been having symptoms or not sleeping, in my case, I've been getting a lot of hives and a lot of annoying things going on like that. And after the Great Reset comes the Great Awakening. So this is the Great Awakening. Who that's saying love, love, love. A lot of you are saying love, love, love. Yes. Lead from love. Thank you, Mr. Floyd. Absolutely. Yes. So what else? All right. I think you get the idea. So that's point number one, mass awakening. And that's what we want. With mass awakening comes mass change. It's not always an easy transition. So anyway, point two really piggybacks off of point one, to be quite honest. That's the facades fall. This society is built on a house of cards. There's no foundation unless you call greed or power over others a foundation. I personally, I don't call it that. I mean, a little puff of wind going to blow it down. What happened in 2020? A tiny itsy bitsy little bug just started to blow the whole house of cards down. That's how tentative of society we live in. People don't realize that. You know, we don't want to be fear-based. This is about empowerment. It's about love. But with that, we need to have awareness, and everything is very, very tenuous here. We are in a solar spike right now. It would just take a solar storm of the right magnitude in the right area to disrupt the satellite services, which is our internet and our cellular service, or to knock out grids or stuff like that. Again, we don't want to scare anybody. You know, this has been on the table for a while, but sometimes when things need to fall, things like that happen. So just be aware. We are divinely protected. We're divinely guided. I firmly believe, and I have so much validation through my channeling work, through other channels, that we have extraterrestrial, interdimensional ascended masters that are working with us in humanity's awakening. They're not allowed to interfere with our evolution, but they can intervene if we're going to destroy the earth or each other, just to put it that way. And basically what they've been doing, it's almost like The Day the Earth Stood Still, the movie from 1951, is they'll allow certain things to happen, maybe even create it, but it's to awaken us, to let us know what the reality really is and what we need to do to stay safe and to evolve and to grow during this time. So again, mass systems failures, you know, that can be financial, that could be many different things. Governments, corporate systems, the systems of the old earth, the three-dimensional systems, massive systems failure. So be prepared, have a little bit of extra cash on hand if you can. Possible stock market crash. The economy is going to need to reset. That's going to happen. Some people have been pointing to April 20th. Maybe a little bit later, but you know, we've had stock market crashes before. What happened? Market comes back. Not such a big deal. Not to get bent out of shape about it, but you know, as I'm talking, Spirit's saying, yeah, but a lot of this is orchestrated to keep us in fear mentality. So keep that in mind. Also, thank you, Spirit. You know, again, inflation is part of that. Oh my God, there's less money. I'm afraid. I need to let the governments rule me because I don't have any money. You know, it's that kind of an agenda, basically. You know, just know. And I know you guys that are here in this channel know this already, but the follow the money, follow the corrupt power, and you'll have a good idea what's going on in the world. You know, from the pharmaceuticals to the governments, to the tech companies, to the global conflicts, the wars, and the funding of wars, and all that stuff. There's an agenda. It's all decentralized. It's all to control so that the wealth can stay with the cabal or the deep state, while the rest of people have to be enslaved by that. But the problem from their perspective is that we are in this mass awakening, and their agendas keep changing, their timelines keep changing to try to keep up with things. So we're doing a good job there. Unexpected turn in global conflict, that could be some of the building up to wars. Some of these unexpected turns can be good, some of them can be harmful. Truth comes out from things like child trafficking, to the political agendas, what's behind the wars, which you talked about, what's behind pandemics, demonstrations, Bill Gates buying up all the land, all that stuff, spy balloons. You expect bigger protests, more news about Fauci, hopefully. Gates, I mentioned Gates buying up all the land and all the farmland. The DEW or do or we'll say alleged, because I don't know for sure. The alleged do created fires that are going on. The global warming. I mean, there's a natural and there's a man-made component, but there could also be an agenda behind that. Once anything becomes political, I get very suspect. In the 1970s, before it became political, I studied the phenomenon of global warming because I was a meteorology student, and there were models that were very accurate to what's going on now. But that said, I don't want to that. What else do we write? Bridge collapses, all this kind of stuff. I mean, every now and then something will be just happens. And because we're so wired to think that they're trying to control us, we'll assume that it's some agenda. That's not always the case. But I look into these things. It's all alleged because I don't know. And the circumstantial evidence is pretty overwhelming that it's just not accidental, that it's just part of the whole control agenda. So anyway, that's part of the facade's falling. The more things that happen, the more people that wake up, the less effective it's going to be. So the truth comes. All right, we talked about that. Several high-ranking officials to step down. That's already been happening. If you've been following the news, I try not to, but if you have, several players get called out. So that could be political players, corporate, military, um, um, researchers of vaccinations, pharmaceutical companies. So a lot of that calling out because the facades are falling and the light is seeping through the cracks. And as the light seeps through the cracks, things get known. Remember, what are eclipses? They're about light and shadows, right? So solar eclipses are really about the light, about exposing the shadow. So that's worth saying also. Okay, moving right along. The frequencies basically squeeze out the negative systems of the cabal, etc., which is a good thing. People waking up, yes, Meryl, a scattering of the deep state players. So that whole structure is likely to start to take some major hits. All right, number 3, thing to know about this the solar eclipse, this new moon, the super new moon. By the way, I should have mentioned this in the beginning, but I'll mention it now because solar eclipses are a huge gravitational effect. The moon and the sun both pull gravitationally on the earth. That's why we have tides. So the moon is capable of lifting water, which is very heavy, 2 feet closer to it in the open oceans. Now, one of the reasons that this is such a spectacular event is because it's a supermoon. The moon is bigger, so it covers more of the sun. So the gravitational force is even bigger, and the sun and the moon are in an exact pinpoint. So that gravitational field is it's like taking a laser beam and pulling. It's like a buzzsaw of gravitational energy pulling through this. So it's part of the severe weather, which isn't on my notes, and I'm glad I'm talking about it. That's number 3. I haven't even started about that, but anyways, you're part of that. We're likely to see, some earthquake activity happening out in the U.S. or the central U.S. may be very subject, and we see a lot of that division and the way that it's cutting through the country. A lot of political division. They're kind of talking about 3 as I'm talking about that. So severe weather, Earth responds to the high voltage frequency, heat, floods, earthquakes, solar activity, space weather, worst Atlantic hurricane season likely coming up. So if you live in those coastal areas, I mean, I'm away from the coast, and Irene totally wreaked havoc, and then the one in 2012, I can't of Sandy. We had 80-mile-an-hour winds, but no rain where I was. So even away from the coast, you can get affected. So big storms. The oceans are warmer than they've ever been for this time of year. So and we're coming, from a scientific perspective, we're coming to a La Nina. So the shear that regulates hurricanes and keeps them from growing too much won't be as strong this summer. So keep an eye on that. And there's others. I'm not going to hit on every single thing, but this is going to be catalyst. So that's the severe weather. Number 4, new beginnings. All new moons are new beginnings. It's stronger because it's a super moon. It's stronger because it's an eclipse. So they're saying to do a ceremony within maybe 72 hours for your new life. So what new life are you creating now? So do a ceremony for your new life, new reality on new earth, basically. It's also in Aries. Aries is the initiator. It's Mars. It's so the Aries energy, the eclipse augments it. Also, new light code activation. So there's with this eclipse energy, with all the intensity of it, there's a spike in frequency, and it's allowing for stronger frequencies to affect our fields, and it activates DNA strand. We have, what is it, 92 strands of DNA that are known, but there's like 144 that are dormant, within the cells also. I'm probably getting my numbers a little bit off, but the point being is dormant means that they're just inactive. There's still DNA strands, and once they get activated, and these are according to my guides, the master teachers, and others. These are basically potentials as humans evolve, and as these DNA strands activate, then we develop new superhuman gifts, as it were. And because we are a seeded species, and we're all basically hybrid species, we're part proto-human and part extraterrestrial. Depending on which extraterrestrial group that you're more aligned with will determine which dormant DNA strands that you have and which gifts that you're likely to develop. But there's a lot of overlap with that, and also there's a lot of overlap. Like, I know that I identify mostly with the Arcturians, but the Lyrians and the Pleiadians and the Sirians, all of them I feel like I have connection with. So anyway, all new beginnings. Do a ceremony within 72 hours. Your new life, Aries energy. Okay, all right, we all got that. Also, probably this is going to catalyze new UFO sightings. Again, a lot of this has been happening already. Government disclosures, and a lot of people are going to start to get messages from extraterrestrials as part of your awakening. You may see them, in your mind, basically get telepathic messages from extraterrestrials and ascended masters, and people that aren't necessarily spiritual. They're going to have these experiences, and they're going to look to people like us for guidance. That's why be the tiger, the compassionate leader, and so forth. So that's number 4. And there's more, but 32 minutes. All right. Anticipated being hybrid star seeds. Yes, thank you, Millie. Yes, absolutely. He joyful said, yes, thank you, very good. So number 5, glitches in the matrix. Even more glitches in the matrix, or physical reality. Whatever you want to call it, by any other name, right? Alan Watts says you can't get wet by the word water. Do we want to call this Maya, like the Vedic teacher said, the illusion? Do we want to call it the Matrix, like some of the new Earth teachers are talking about? We're living in some kind of computer simulation. I look at it as a spiritual simulation, and it may be a computer program from either our future or a sophisticated society. I mean, I don't know. But being a medium for over 20 years, it's very clear. They tell me, when I died, I woke up. I realized that this was all a dream, basically. Then I woke up and I realized who I was again, basically. And whatever it is, there's always glitches. 3D reality is fluid. It's not solid. The atoms that make it up are 99.999% empty space. And within that empty space fires electrons at 1/100th the speed of light, give or take a few thousand miles per hour. But the point being is that's a lot of energy. They say an electron can circle the Earth in 17 seconds or something like that. That's in an atom, and we have hundreds of trillions of atoms just in our bodies alone. Everything that exists in this physical reality exists in abundance, including money. But that's a subject for another live stream or another video. But the point being is that it's all an illusion, and there's cracks in this illusion. There's always glitches. Expect more Mandela effects, like groups of people remembering events that never happened. And my friend Adam Z, who has a very good YouTube channel on spirituality and law of attraction called Manifest Yourself. He said, a couple of years ago, he told us a story about it. He's into video games, and there's this one game where there was a level 2, and millions of people played the level 2, but there was no level 2. And people contact the manufacturer. They said there was never that or 2A or 2B, whatever. That was never there. That's the Mandela effect. I get temporal displacement. I haven't had one for a while, but the most significant one, and that's basically like cracking the time barrier. That's what I mean by temporal displacement. I was listening to music, and then all of a sudden, I flash, quick blackout, and then about a quarter of the second of the music replayed itself, basically. And for about 10 minutes, I started to sweat. I felt nauseous. I felt dizzy, and I was like, that was a temporal displacement. It was only a half second, but that was still a temporal displacement. Yes, if whoever mentioned deja vus, that's all part of it. And glitches, things that defy physical reality. We'll see more and more of that. When I had my awakening in 1978, first one, there's been others since. Things that I noticed where physical reality did not behave the way I thought physical reality did. And I have a lot of examples, probably one of them. And I have to admit that this was part of an LSD experience also. But I went to a bar. I started to play a pinball machine. 3 hours later, I had over 100 free games. I only lost 2 balls in 3 hours. I had all kinds of free balls, and I had to leave the machine. It's like I had hundreds of free games built up, and I never was that great at pinball. That's an example of the physical reality. It's not what we think that it is. There's more to it than that, and it's born out of consciousness, and consciousness is born out of spirit. We can change physical reality. Now the trick is to learn how to do that without drugs. I don't do them anymore, but now and then I'll dabble with mushrooms as part of a ceremony. But other than that, I don't. And that's it. And Katie saying walls buzz and vibrate. That's one of the things that I noticed after my first awakening. Things vibrated. I was seeing movement inside of walls. I was feeling earthquakes, and it took me a while to realize these earthquakes was my kundalini starting to move at the base of the spine. But I swear, I felt that the earth was shaking. One time, I just laid outside. And I could feel the rain hitting outside of my body. So these are some examples of the physical reality. It's not what we think that it is. It's not what we're programmed to believe that it is. There's so much more to it, and we're gonna, again, a lot of awakening. So what happens as we develop our gifts? We learn to telekinesis or to move objects. We learn to perform some of the miracles that high level initiates like Jesus did, walking on water, which could be the projection of etheric double, turning water into wine, or transmutation of matter, bilocation, being in 2 places at once, being able to walk through walls. We're not physical, we're energetic beings. We only have these physical bodies, but they're energetic bodies also. All that stuff is available. Yeah. E-quakes, energy quakes, remote. Yeah. All this great stuff. So glitches in the matrix. All right. So here's a few things to practice. We're going to do them. Practice lucid dreaming. How many of you have been having lucid dreams? I had a lucid. I've in the last 4 or 5 days, I've had one night that I slept. Every other night I couldn't sleep. A lot going on energetically. But even when I didn't sleep, I'd nod off for 20 minutes and be awake for a couple hours, nod off for another hour. So one of my lucid dreams, I was very lucid, is basically I died. It's like, you're probably saying, charming, you died in your dream. You want to share that with us? Yeah. I was sitting in a room. I had a heart attack, and I felt the rush. I know when I die, it's going to be a huge rush of energy, and I started to feel myself leaving the body, and then I woke up, and my monkey mind was saying, "Oh, that was horrible. Was there a psychic attack?" And then I thought about it for a second, or Spirit said, but in the dream you weren't scared, right? And I was very loose, and I was like, yeah, no, I wasn't scared. I was like, all right, it's my time. Let's do it, basically. So it's like kind of like for me a message that I really have transcended the fear of death, which is a great thing, which means I no longer fear life. So that life and death are two parts of the same whole. So anyway, practice your lucid dreaming. A lot of you are having lucid dreams. I know that you are. So practice that. I wrote down my retreat. Well, I'm having a retreat on August the 2nd to 4th up here in the Catskills. That'll be on the pinned comment, details on that. And got 4 in-house spaces open, and what's 4 and 8? And 12 spaces open. Well, it's in August, so we're going to dive deeper into things like energy work, how to move energy, how to breathe, how to manifest our reality, how to heal ourselves, heal others, heal at a distance, connect with God, spirit source, do mediumship, do channeling, do psychic work, all that beautiful stuff. So anyways, no more plugs. Okay. Next, it's funny that I wrote that down. I think Spear wanted me to mention that. That's we're going to do a lot of exercise there. Okay, so they say got to keep strong. This is the main thing. Make sure you are eating well. No junk, please. You cannot clog your systems when there's more frequencies going through you. That's going to hurt. Sorry to say that, but put the Twinkies away. Just the thought of Twinkies makes me cringe. Do lots of yoga or qigong, lots of breath work. Your nervous systems, your meridian systems need to be strong now to adapt to these higher frequencies, the strongest shifts that we've ever had. Lots of water, clean foods, breath exercises. Try to visualize, when you try to get really, really present, so present, you're no longer a name or body, your energy and frequency. When you can accomplish that, especially you can feel grateful, you start to feel the flow. The flow is just prana, chi, energy. God or spirit or source expresses themselves through consciousness and through energy. So if we connect with the flow, we also connect with the consciousness, because they're two parts of the same thing. And when you start to feel the flow, you can learn how to direct the flow, and then magic starts to happen in your life. So really, do that, and then we want to be vehicles for this higher frequency. If when we're receptacles, that's when I'm having ascension symptoms, so I'm not perfect either. I'm a student, I'm a teacher student, both. I'll put it that way. So I'm not perfect either. I'm getting the ascension symptoms too, but the thing is, I do this work, I do this practice, and they're not as severe as they could be. I'll put it that way. And really, a lot of it is when we have cogs in our systems. That's the seeds of disease. When there's blockages in the energetic field to manifest in the physical body, basically. When you work with flow and energy, work with breath, and clear the cogs, both through diet, through your thoughts. Also, what you feed your mind is even more important than what you feed your body, by the way. Then you start to become a vehicle for these energies, and then magic happens. When you start to become a receptacle, then disease happens. We don't want that. So I wrote down in my notes, use presence and heart-brain coherence. We'll have a heart-brain coherence video on that, or an equivalent practice of heart-brain coherence, making the heart coherent in the frequencies of gratitude, appreciation, love, compassion, and all that stuff. And the brain and the heart are connected. So when you activate the brain in coherence, the heart in coherence, the brain locks into coherence, because the brain's the stronger of the two electromagnetic generators. The heart's really the generator, and the brain is the transmitter receiver of information with that. But they work synergistically. But in the programming of the society, we've severed that tie. When your heart and your brain are not coherent or connected, you're not coherent with spirit. Bottom line. Yeah, you'll get flashes and glimpses when you're more lucid and you're more in a higher frequency, but they'll be fleeting. If you want to make that your baseline, as it were, this is the practice. The more you get present with heart and brain, the more you open up to spirit. It's not that hard. So it is, but it's. I'll put it this way: it's simple, but that doesn't make it easy, right? I think that's a better way of putting it. So do the the Ascension Sets. I have channeled exercise and easy ones to do. That I'll it's a 3 part playlist, and I'll include that in the pinned comment also. And continue to do your shadow integration work, and I'll post my 5 shadow work exercises video on that also. By the way, we just launched a video today at 5:30. I mentioned that earlier on. It's called After the Eclipse, so that's the thumbnail, title. So this will be more information on what to expect, in your life and in the world around you in the weeks and months that are following this celestial event. It's not the event itself. That's a very quiet and peaceful thing. It's had, again, it's a frequency buzzsaw. It's a gravitational. So there's a physical buzzsaw. Basically, it changes things. All right. All right. So I have some divination cards also. I just see. All right. So yeah, astral travel. Yeah, you can practice your astral travel also. I mean, probably if I'd stuck with that dream where I died, I probably would have actually left my body and done astral traveling. But I woke up instead. And Katie saying cat turned deep protector. Yeah, I miss having a cat too. I might change that before too long, because they're very good astral protectors, and they warn us of energies. All right, so what do we have here? I have a few decks. This is Kyle Gray's Angels and Ancestors decks. The Lyrans, the cat people. Thank you, Huda. Hi, Louise. So anybody that jumped on late, you can either leave now and start in the beginning, or when we're done, you can replay. Yeah, so the Lyrans, the Vega is known, through thousands of different people under hypnosis having similar accounts from different walks of life, different continents or whatever, mostly through Dolores Cannon's work, but others. So it's said that the Lyrans is where the lion people come from, the cat people. And it's interesting. Could I have the Isis Oracle deck here also? One of the things I didn't mention, but in one of my recent videos I did, is there's a big upsurge of Egyptian deity energies that are happening right now. And Sekhmet, the lion goddess, was probably a Lyran teacher, an elder. And Bastet was probably that also. It may have been something different, maybe more of a spiritual essence rather than a space traveler, but that would make a lot of sense, right? So anyway, yeah, I'm kind of glancing your comments. You guys have some amazing comments going on here, and I appreciate it. Let me just clear my mind a second. Found my card, and the card is Elder. Move beyond ancestral patterns. That's a great message. That's a perfect eclipse message. And the reason that I used divination card, because I would have missed that totally. Learn about your ancestry. Understand that this buzzsaw energy, this eclipse, the frequencies, the human resonance, all the stuff is kind of creating more movement, more energy going through the earth. It's releasing these patterns of human suffering and ancestral pain and karma and stuff like that. We want to heal our ancestry to get past that. I will maintain this till I'm blue in the face. I'm not a big advocate of release work. Having said that, I'm a huge advocate of release work. And why the contradiction? Simply because you're not going to release anything you don't embrace first. You can, like, say, you've got to know what it is. You've got to learn that lesson first before you can release anything. So karma, negative karma is not a bad thing. It's your teacher. So, be okay to embrace it. Bruce Lee has a beautiful quote in his book, The Tao Jeet Kune Do. I'm a martial artist at heart. And the quote is, you have to befriend the disease. You have to, I'm paraphrasing. You have to befriend the disease. You have to walk with the disease. You have to be one with the disease. That's how you get past the disease, basically. You've got to embrace these things. It's not, I mean, it is bad and negative because there's a lot of suffering, but it's not. In terms of spiritual perception, it's just experiences. We judge it as good as bad because we don't want pain. We don't want people to die and suffer. It's a horrible thing. And if you're empathic, you feel that also. I get it. But this is the time to embrace those shadows, embrace your ancestry also. Even if it's difficult. So that's how you move past those ancestral patterns. There's a soul retrieval exercises that you can do, or you can do a soul retrieval with a qualified shaman. You can do some meditation, some regression, but you have to understand these patterns in order to be able to release them. You have to embrace to release. So, and I have an exercise called the Golden Flame for that, but it's already very long. So anyway, so that's a great message that I would have missed otherwise. So thank you, Spirit, for that. So under the Isis Oracle deck here, see what our Egyptian friends and teachers have to say. Yes, time to be the teacher, time to be the elders, because we are the teacher and we are the student. We are the elder, we are the child. We are all things. Energy goes, energy, what's the expression? Energy flows where attention goes. So if we're focusing on our pitfalls, our shortcomings, our challenges, or whatever, we're putting more credence, or we're putting more energy into that, and we're manifesting that. So so again, don't describe it as negative. It's like, if I'm having pain, if I'm really upset, if something really terrible is happening to me, I have to step back and see this is an experience. It's not necessarily bad because my human perceptive labels it that way. It's something we need to experience and grow. And when I finally gave in to like the problem with eczema and all the autoimmune stuff that was killing me, through the medication I was taking, that's when I started to heal. And it took 3 years, but I actually healed. And when I finally embraced it rather than trying to push it away and say, no, this is bad, this is negative, I don't want it, I released it or whatever. The only place that's going to go is more within. So anyway, I think you guys get the message. I hope you do, since I've explained it 3 different ways. And one of the reasons my live streams wind up being so long is I tend to maybe over-explain things a little bit. But in any event, so this is the Oracle, or the Isis Oracle. It's a gift from Mr. Floyd's channeling channel, who channels Saint Germain and Archangel Raphael. Of course, I'll give you a plug. Divine Guardian. I've gotten this one before also. And the message here is protection of the winged mother. So, I'm not going to read the whole card, but just to know that you're divinely protected. It's kind of like there's this beautiful blue violet kind of energy. So a lot of the violet flame, Saint Germain energy that goes in with that also, which is very protective. But then also the red and the orange. I feel like one of the messages is also build those lower chakras. A lot of people will skip the lower ones, and they want to be intuitive. They want to be this, that, or the other thing. To build that lower triangle. So build the root, have a strong root, build a strong foundation. Then you're not going to tumble. You're not going to get blown over by these energetic storms. Like our birches hold when the shallow rooted white pines fall. So we want to build those lower chakras up also. And I have one other, the frequency. Okay, so what frequency to work on according to the sacred geometry deck? It's like Katie saying divine sacred energy, and I'm thinking sacral chakra. That's a huge one. Some people ground through the sacral chakra, and one of my Kundalini yoga teachers saying Kundalini is actually in the sacrum, and then it loops down through the root and then up through the spine. Although I've heard it, being dormant within the spine. The reality is probably within both of those chakras. But in any event, I think energy tricksters. I understand. I don't think your live streams are long enough. Thank you. Trickster. Yeah, a lot of trickster energy out there for sure. Thank you. The coyote. Here we go. I found it. Took me a while. It's like almost like my hand moves by itself. Ooh, romantic love. So I think romance with yourself could be part of that. But I think because this is also not just global, but also personal forecast. I mean, maybe this is for me, yay! But it may be for you guys also. So pay attention to possible romantic love and romantic interest, and the frequency of romantic love supports our journey to feel whole and complete through the experience with reflection of a conscious lover. So they're saying a conscious lover. Now, in my estimation, you're not going to feel wholeness and complete through another until you feel that from within. And then the other will just complement that and vice versa. So never look for your better half. You are your better half. Never look to somebody to complete you. You are complete. Never look outside of yourself to find love because you are love. Be the energy of love. Be the energy of completion. Be the energy of the other thing that I said, whatever that was. And that's how you become magnetic to the partner that's going to best complement that for you. So that, to me, it's like when it comes to law of attraction, indeed the horse does come before the carriage. And I'll leave you with this thought. Yeah, actually, I'll hold this up in case you want to absorb some of the energies of this. In case you want a romantic lover, but start with romancing yourself. Um, when we pray, prayer is very powerful, right? When I think the actual, I forgot what book it's in. I think the actual, it might be the book of Matthew, because many of my favorite quotes are from Matthew. But when two or more are gathered in my name or in his name, so shall I be amongst you. I think it was in his name. When two or more are gathered in his name, so shall I be amongst you, or something like that. But that's not the quote I was going. This quote actually comes in the book of Mark. And the quote is, if you when you pray for something, believe that you already have it and it shall be yours. And I find that very powerful because it's very fundamental law of attraction. And it's so interesting because I have a story that people think that I ripped off from Greg Braden, but I didn't. It really happened to me. And this was in the 1980s in Oklahoma. And we had my friend Bob Vetter and I had a friend named Bob Fields, and we went out hiking, one day. And I don't know if he's talking to me or both of us, but he just said, we do ceremony, we do our rain dances, but it works. He's saying, this really works, but we're not asking the creator to make it rain, because that just reinforces the lack of the rain. Instead, we're grateful that it's raining. We're feeling the rain, and it always rains. We're grateful. We feel the crops being nourished. So remember, don't ask, say, God, please give me this, that. I'm so happy and grateful. Those 6 words are very powerful, that I have the divine lover, my divine soul partner now, or whatever it is that you're creating. Because you already do. It's just not in the physical reality yet. But when you're able to get very present and step into the quantum fields. I mean, you're always in the quantum fields anyway, but when you get very present and start to dissolve some of the human attachment, you start to become more aware. And I get a huge body rush as soon as I know I'm stepping into the field, when I just get this body rush and this head rush. It's like Joe Dispenza calls it stepping into the sweet spot of the present moment. So when that happens, then it's like I feel like whatever it is that I desire, if I'm doing law of attraction, I have it. I would like to have more money. It's something I've been working on for years now. Could I have not horrible, beneficial, though from a human perspective, horrible, negative money programming or karma. I mean, it's gotten better and it'll continue to get better. I'll get to where I want to go because it's already real in my mind and heart. I'll just feel like it's already real. And then through the power of repetition, you create that reality in the quantum, that field where all possibility exists. You give it that energetic form, and it starts to crystallize in your physical world. So anyway, that's what I got for you guys. We were an hour. I thought this was going to last about an hour. Also, Watkins Cat House has those cards too. Great. Ask, claim, and receive. The bigger cards. Okay, very good. Grateful for you guys always. So Saturday at 5 p.m. Heather and I are going to get on to do some transmissions to prepare you for the energetic shift, for the great flash of the eclipse. I'm going to be in Western New York. I'm probably not going to be able to broadcast live from where I am. In fact, if all works out, I'll be doing right after the eclipse sweat lodge ceremony and purification. Um, but we're going to do transmission to help support that. And we did one last night, but that was on Spirit Mind Family on Patreon. If you want to get in on our inner core community, we do 2 additional challenges per month that go deeper with the master teachers. They're the beings of light that work with me to help you guys to raise your frequency. So you guys that have done that with me, you know that it can be very powerful. So we do more of that. Then we have exclusive videos and meditation don't share anywhere else. So it's just $5 a month. There's also a free option, but you just get the posts and the meetups. You don't get the other events. So you can check that out also. All right, done. Check. That was my last plug of the day. Total eclipse of the heart. Yes. So, again, eclipses are shadows, but the light is behind the shadow. So the idea, is that you want to bring the light out. It's solar. All right. Love you guys. Love you guys. Till we meet again Saturday. Yes. And as Susan Alda saying, we have much to look forward to. Yeah, and thanks for posting that because this is a good summation. I mean, this is a miraculous period that we're in. It's not going to be easy. We're going to see a lot, but things have to fall in order to rise, in order to build a stronger foundation, in order to rise to a higher frequency and to eliminate, to purge the corruption in the world. It's got to be hard, but it's a miraculous change. Hang in there, stay in your heart, stay in the eye of the storm, and keep it, stay in this or other spiritual community that you feel a connection with. We support each other in community, and that's what I got for you. All right, leaving for real. Bye.